What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. Do you hear that echo? That's pretty amazing. That's the echo of an empty gym on January 1st, because it's New Year right now, and this is our gym, 100% fit gym. Pretty much every gym in the Netherlands is closed, but when you have an own gym, you can go there whenever you want. So let me show you a quick tour around, but I'm going to train the arms today. As my workout split, I shared with you in a previous video at the end. So if you're interested, check that video out. And I just took some BCAAs, one scoop of the BCAAs, IBCAAs, with high leucine content, with glutamine to protect the muscles, because most of the muscle protein is consisting of glutamine. And of course, using the Vintage Genetics shaker cup of about 1 liter fits in here. As you can see, it's quite large. Also available on vintagegenetics.com. But let me show you what this gym is all about. For a little bit, I'll do a separate video about what we are really capable of in this gym, because we invest in it ourselves. This is basically the area that you walk in when you walk into the gym. And let me show you, because we are actually, I made this poster, because we are, me and my girlfriend Marley, right here. She's the actual owner of the gym. I met her in this gym in October of 2017 at that table. And from then on out, we became very close, as you know by now. But this is basically the poster of Vintage Genetics Coaching. We coach Dutch people, mostly competition athletes, but also people who simply want to change their lifestyle. But we give posing lessons, we give a lot of support, we provide nutrition plans, workout plans, and basically so much more. We already had a lot of successes in Dutch competitions. And if you are Dutch and you are interested in being coached by us, this gym is a location where we will do the measurements. And this is the email you should send your inquiry to. If you're interested in being coached by us, send an email here and we will tell you exactly what to do next. But yes, this is the hall that you enter when you enter the gym. If you open the door, you can see the cars, and that is the Vintage Genetics Mobile. As you see, I just got it printed on the car, designed something like this myself, and made a pretty cool car. This is Marley's car herself, from the gym itself. 100% fit gym. We've got flags outside, and it's very quiet because it's January 1st, but hey, we can always work out here. So I'm actually wearing the new Vintage Genetics tank top with dropped armholes, which I love. Back like 2 or 3 years ago, I liked to wear tight tank tops, tight shirts, but I don't like that anymore, because I like movement. I like freedom of movement during the workout. So, for example, when doing a lat pull down, you want the lats to be freed instead of being stuck in fabric. Of course, sometimes I like to wear something tight fitting, like we have a bamboo shirt on the website, but I don't like the feeling of it being tight. That's why we use bamboo material to make it feel very comfortable. It doesn't feel tight, but it looks very nicely shaped to your physique. But yes, this is a new tank top with the Vintage Genetics logo in silver. It's going to be online very soon, if not already on the website. Anyway, let's get started on this arm workout. All right, guys, so we're going to begin with the triceps. As the triceps compared to my biceps are more of a weak point, I prioritize the triceps in this arm workout. So what I do during an arm workout is use supersets, which means doing a tricep exercise first and then following it immediately up with a bicep exercise. The first thing we're going to do is right there, the French press in a special way. You've seen me perform it a couple of times, but I'll perform it for you. And then we are going to do, as you can see, let's see if we can, over there, I don't know if you can see, but it's a barbell, an empty barbell, a regular squat barbell actually, of 20 kilograms. So you want to empty that bar before your first set. So don't use a weight, just use the empty bar because you want those biceps to be warmed up before going too heavy. But anyway, let's get started. So yes, we are starting out with the French press, but performed in a different way. You've seen me do this a couple of times before. This is the first exercise, and to me, the very best exercise for triceps, for especially the long head that there is. So what you want to do is, instead of bringing the bar to your forehead like a regular skull crusher, you want to bring it back behind your head, and then when pushing it upwards, you want to actually move the upper arm in such a way to bring it upwards and forwards, because that also is a function of the triceps, of the long head. And then we superset it with a barbell curl. And as I said before, this is an empty bar. It already weighs 20 kilograms, but you want to properly warm up the biceps first. And if you look closely, you can see the range of motion is a little greater than usual. I fully stretch out at the bottom, the stretch is full, and also the contraction at the top is complete. It looks like I'm using my front delts. Of course, I'm using them a little bit, but you need to use them in order to fully contract that bicep. And I always like to use a couple of warm-up sets for the first exercises, of course. So these two beginning sets are still quite easy. I'm doing 5 sets in total, and the last 2 sets will be really heavy, of course. But as you can see from this angle, you can see that my fists, my hands are going below my head. So you want to actually lay down on the bench far enough so you don't hit the bench itself. That is very important, so you can fully stretch those long heads of those triceps. And you trust me, if you haven't done this exercise before, you will feel incredible muscle ache the next day. And then moving on to the barbell curl again. And remember, the moment that I'm done with the French press, I move to the barbell curl right away, no breaks. And you can see here that the weight increments are pretty low, because if you perform the exercise like this, it will be very difficult on those biceps. It's all about the stress you can provide to the muscles and not the weight. The biceps are really a small muscle group, so if you go real heavy with them, your body doesn't have a choice but to use different muscles. And what do we want to train today? Only the arms and nothing else. And you can see right here, I am turning into Cyclops with my Bluetooth speakers right there. But that's because they were in the way of performing this exercise correctly. And now that the weight is getting heavier, you can see that my arms are dropping down even more. You can see the contraction and the tension on the long head of the triceps being constant. The time under tension here is complete. You don't lose the tension at all, so that's what you want to do when doing this exercise. Even when you go all the way to the top, keep that contraction on the triceps. If you stop feeling that contraction, it's not good. Let's do this.
Let's do this indeed. I am quite motivated for the Arnold Classic, and of course on the Arnold stage, what more can you have than great arms during the Classic Physique contest, and also a great chest, and also a great back, and a great physique overall. But anyway, Classic Physique and Classic Bodybuilding is known for having great arms, so you cannot neglect them. And it works perfectly in my workout split anyway. 4 days of workouts, 1 day rest, and because of the arm day, I can perfectly do that. And then we've got some underhand tricep pushdowns. These are unilateral, which means I'm using one arm first and then the other arm. And I like to combine unilateral exercises with each other. So the bicep exercise will also be unilateral, as you can see right now. The exercise I'm supersetting the unilateral tricep pushdowns with is the alternating dumbbell curls. Arnold said about this exercise that he felt the best contraction out of any bicep exercise there is during these curls. And I have to say, if you do them correctly, again, moving the arm upwards just a little bit for that optimal contraction, you will feel exactly what he meant. You have to turn your wrists outwards when you go upwards to really fully contract that bicep, and you will feel it. And of course, as the date of the show comes closer, I'm checking out my own shape, doing some posing in between, which is always a great thing to do while you work out, as you then feel the muscles that you're actually working. And this is a second set of the unilateral underhand tricep pushdowns. You really feel these in basically the entire triceps. Mostly you feel it in the long head if you do it underhand, and if you stretch and contract it, especially contract it all the way like this. A lot of people I see this exercise do, and they simply don't, they either go too heavy, which prevents them from fully contracting that muscle. But if you look at my triceps, the moment I fully contract it, you can see the extra striations existing in the muscle, and that creates muscle quality. And with the alternating dumbbell curls, you notice that I'm again not going very heavily. With the biceps, I simply don't like to go heavy. I like to go more into the muscle. If you go too heavy with these, you will swing your body too much, swing your arms too much. And if you notice, I'm swinging my body just a tiny little bit to make sure that the contraction is optimal, but I only go in steps of 2.5 kilograms with each set. And as you can see, if you only use the biceps during this exercise, you will hit failure pretty quickly. And then the next one, an excellent one again for the long head. Basically every overhead exercise, every overhead tricep extension is for the long head of the tricep mostly. Every time that I say you train the long head with this or the short head with this, it's only an emphasis. You always train the entire muscle, of course, but you emphasize a certain part of the muscle by training it in a different angle, because that is what bodybuilding is all about. And then we are combining it with a rope hammer curl to really work on the brachialis muscle. That's basically in between the biceps and the triceps. As you can see that little bump in between the bicep and triceps, and you want to work that for the bicep thickness. And at the same time you work the upper arm, the upper forearm with it as well. And then checking out the back progression, of course, because we know that some competitors at the Arnold Classic have a pretty good back, so of course I have to check my own to see how I compare with those, to see if I even stack up with them in that department a little bit. But anyway, the next set, again 75 kilograms, you can go pretty heavy on this overhead extension. And if you notice that I'm going explosively on the positive, but also on the negative at the bottom of the movement, I like to really drop the weight so that the stretch is maximum. Some research has shown, this is the same for calves by the way, if you go really quickly on the negative at the bottom and get a forced stretch, it actually targets more muscle fibers than if you wouldn't have done that, but only do that if you are very experienced with the exercise itself. And these rope hammer curls are pretty amazing as well. Full range of motion, keep the tension on the biceps and the forearms for a good pump. Once again here, checking out the shape, and if you can see that I'm wearing the new vintage genetics tank top, it's pretty amazing, very lightweight material, and of course checking out the vacuum. Always want to check the vacuum even during training. The conditioning is pretty much coming in at more than 8 weeks out from the Arnold Classic. Final superset, the tricep pushdown. We're starting with it. Again, another exercise hitting the tricep from another angle. And when you look closely, I don't go upwards to 90 degrees. I go upwards above 90 degrees for the optimal stretch in the long head. You can really see it right there. The long head connecting into basically the armpit, and that part has to move a little bit as well to enhance even those muscle fibers all the way upwards to your armpits, which are your triceps as well. And then one of my favorite bicep exercises, the close grip preacher curls for the optimal contraction of the bicep peak. Again, don't go heavy, but trust me, after all these exercises you cannot go heavy anymore. Just focus on that ultimate peak. And then as the first few sets went quite easily here, I'm now going quite heavy, and when doing an exercise in this fashion, reverse basically, normally you stand the other way around, but right now my abs are really working, which is why I don't work the abs so much, because during leg day, during back day, and even during arm day, the abs are getting worked, keeping my body straight just like that, and going to the max to make sure those triceps grow. Here you can see that the maximum weight that I'm using on this close grip preacher curl is 22.5 kilograms. Why? Because under an angle, the tension on the biceps isn't lost, and I'm actually not sitting on the seat below me. I'm actually standing up a little bit to make sure that I'm in a correct angle to keep the tension on the biceps. A lot of people sit way too low, which actually doesn't allow you to keep the tension on the biceps at the top of the movement. So sit forward and over the bench a little bit to make it a lot more difficult for yourself. And during the last few reps, I like to go very slow on the negative for maximum tension to make those biceps grow beyond what they already are. And to finish this workout off, I want to work on the forearms with the reverse grip preacher curls. Simply do the exact same exercise, but this time grip them about shoulder width and in a reverse grip. This targets the top of the forearms. You can see them contracting right there. And you can also clearly see in this shot that the right forearm is more dominant compared to the left one. And no, it's not the reason that you think, but a lot of people simply have this problem because their entire right body is dominant. For me, it's predominantly in the forearm, so you always want to work them also unilaterally whenever you can.
Alright guys, that was the workout of today. Got a pretty nice pump in the arms. I always like to combine a pump with progressive overload. So you saw me do quite some volume. I did 4 supersets and 1 finishing exercise for the forearms. Never forget those, especially when they are starting to become a little smaller compared to the upper arm. That's where you always should work on forearms. But yes, I did quite a lot of volume for the pump, getting blood into the muscle. Then during the 2 last sets, I went real heavy. Didn't always record the heaviest set because then I'm really into the zone and not really, because I'm alone, I'm not going to, waste too much time setting up the camera every single time because I am training for the Arnold Classic. And let me check how many days are left for the Arnold Classic. And I can see it right here on my phone. There's a timer, 59 days left. So this is going to be an amazing time, an amazing prep. I'll show you a lot more what I eat, the nutrition and the supplements. So what you saw me consume before the workout is 1 scoop of BCAAs. And right now, I'll take 2 more scoops of BCAAs. That's what I always do when I'm doing a cut. And basically all my cuts are only for a contest. So to protect the muscle mass, to emphasize, to enhance the muscle protein synthesis. Because you want to maximize that process if you are in a caloric deficit. That's what you want, because every time you are in the process of muscle protein synthesis, you will build muscle instead of risking losing muscle during a caloric deficit. That's not what you want, so I use this one, orange flavor, pretty tasty, very high quality. That's no joke. I only supply supplements of the highest quality, formulated by my own coach, who has been a coach of multiple Olympia athletes as well, including myself, but he's very humble. He never shows himself in that way, but his brand is Nutritech. I am working together with him to supply these supplements to other people. So, and I've been using them myself up until the day of every contest that I did, so yes. But anyway guys, I want to thank you for watching. A Q&A is coming up. And yes, do not forget to stay gorgeous.